Other thoughts or questions you guys have?
Are there any examples that you know of like a policy brief for us to kind of like reference to, like
Yeah,
online?
I don't have any right off the top of my head, but I know in the past, I know in one of my face-to-face policy classes, students were interested in seeing something like that. I'll be happy to pull something up and post it on Blackboard, either tonight or tomorrow, so that you can kind of just have that to reference and see how your ideas are fitting within that framework. It won't necessarily be exactly what you guys need
Well,
to do for
yeah.
the assignment, but just in terms of structuring the conversation and the tone and all that stuff, I think it might be a good example. So I can definitely do that. I also like examples, even if it's totally something just completely irrelevant to what I'm doing other than the structure. I like to see the example. So I can do that.
I do too. I think examples always are helpful.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm happy to keep talking about the paper, but I'm also curious to know how everyone's doing in the class. Does anyone have any concerns or feedback or anything they want to share?
I'm ready to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done.
It's that time of the semester, I know.
Yeah.
We all feel that way a little bit. Some of us more than others.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's what's making this paper so difficult, because it's like the last assignment like ever. I don't plan on going back to school, so it's just trying to get it done.
You can do it. You never say never about going back to school, though.
Uh,
That's right. That is so right.
You just never know.
That's right. I did after 26 years. After getting my bachelor's, I went back to school. And didn't know if my old brain could learn stuff again, but it has.
I was going to say, I think you're doing just fine. So we're glad you did come back. So everyone's kind of burned out at this point. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Are all of you at the point of graduation now?
Yes.
No, I'm doing the extended field placement,
Okay.
so I'll graduate in August.
Oh, okay. But nearly finished.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did that so I could continue to work part-time.
Yeah, it's nice that we have that option now, because I know that's hard for a lot of students.
Mm-hmm.
So for the last discussion, I know that it says it's due like May something, but classes are over this week. Is that like a typo, or?
I don't believe it is a typo. Let me pull it up. I mean, you're always welcome to complete it early, I suppose. Let me see. I know
Well,
it's
yeah,
probably
just in case like maybe the other students are
Right.
working on the paper and I don't have like enough people to respond to.
I know that's always a challenge with these discussions. I did go ahead and open it early.
Mhm.
Somebody had requested because they were going to be doing international travel at the end of the semester, and I said, yeah, I can open it 2 days early. I should make an announcement to everybody, though. I just did that this afternoon. It is due May 1st, which is, what, next Wednesday?
Okay.
And it's during finals week, but we don't have a final in this course.
Oh. I thought classes were over on the 26th. Maybe I'm just checking out
It's
after it
possible
says.
that I've done something screwy. I mean, that it wouldn't be the first time. But I was under the impression that was still finals week and it was okay to. Are we? I might have missed a memo. Are we not allowed to have assignment due dates during finals week?
Oh, no, I'm not asking for like that. On Friday, like I plan on checking out, like not logging into Blackboard other than checking my final grade. So I just didn't know if it was like, well, you said it was open now, so that's fine, but I didn't know it was open.
Well, I'll go
So
ahead and
that's
make an
helpful.
announcement to the entire class so that maybe there is more traction on the discussion board before, next Wednesday, because I know that a lot of people are going to want to wrap things up before then.
Mhm.
You're able to. Yeah, I mean, I just didn't want to stack so many assignments on you guys at one time. I thought I'd give you some space to focus on the policy brief first and then turn to the discussion board and finish that up. But I will let everybody know that we do have that open early. I'll send an email out tonight, um, and I'll mention that, while it's due Wednesday, people might want to consider doing it sooner if they're motivated, so that everyone can start working on things they want to wrap up.
And is this due on the 24th or 25th? I don't have my planner.
The
beside me.
24th, yeah, midnight on the 24th. I try to do all the deadlines on Wednesday night at midnight just to kind of
Oh,
keep everything simple for the course, but yeah.
okay.
I appreciate that. It being
It helps me
on
too.
a regular schedule.
Wednesday. Right. Yeah.
It is easier to keep up with.
Because I know you guys have more than one class typically, so juggling all the different deadlines and course schedules can be a challenge.
All right.
Any other
Well,
comments?
I guess I need to get to this paper.
I'll do my best to also post an example for you, and I'll include that in the email as well so people can all see that. That's a really good suggestion because I feel like a lot of people could benefit from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to stick around until 8 just to see if anybody else pops back in because I kind of made this an open invitation for people to drop by. But you guys are, don't feel pressure to stick around. I know you have other things to do, so.
Like finish writing this paper.
Right.
Mhm.
I
That's
know
right.
you guys are not just sitting around. You're quite busy, so.
Well, I appreciate you talking to us and kind of giving us some extra guidance on it.
Yes,
Sure,
thank
yeah,
you.
and if other questions come up, please don't hesitate to reach out. I've made the offer to at least a handful of people now who have been concerned about things. I'm happy to look at drafts and kind of give some general feedback for the actual submission. So if you're feeling particularly unsure of things, and like I mentioned to you, Kashara, if you just wanted to, even just a rough outline of like, here's where I'm heading, I'm more than happy to provide interim feedback rather than just the final submission.
All right. Well, thank you for your help. I'm gonna go ahead and get going.
All right. Have a good
All
night.
right. Thanks. You too.
Thank you, Dr. Cheatham.
Yeah, thank you, Becky. It was good to see you again.
Thank you. Have a good night, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Sure.
Wait, let me go back to it. So as far as the policy options and alternatives,
Mhm.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly.
Okay.
So if I say, let's just say Title 9. Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. It says my internet is unstable.
Oh.
Let's say if I say policy 9 is going to be, Title 9 is going to be the policy that I focus on. So 3 alternatives, what am I supposed to be doing for that as far as the alternatives? Like, should I say they should like host more sexual assault awareness courses on campus? Like, is it something along those lines?
There are a number of ways you can approach it, but if you want to, share that Title IX is the current policy, and you're building and making 3 recommendations beyond that, is that what you're suggesting? Because Title IX is what we currently have in place to protect.
Well, I just use that as an example. That's not the policy that I'm using.
Okay.
I just use that as an example so I can understand, because I'm not sure which policy I'm going to use yet, or which there's not really a policy. That, like, Title IX really doesn't have much to do with sexual assault, but that's what the colleges have in place for when it occurs.
Yeah, and I think that you could mention, if you wanted to identify that as the policy that you're talking about as the current way that campuses are, looking for guidance in terms of how to handle sexual assaults on campus, that seems reasonable to kind of outline how that relates to those issues and how it doesn't. I mean, it might not go far enough to provide specific guidance, and that might be part of your recommendation.
Yeah.
And then in terms of three additional specific policy options, I think you might be able to find different advocacy organizations that make suggestions around, it might help to kind of stir your thinking about it, about ways that Title IX doesn't go far enough, and recommendations to strengthen protection for victims on college campuses.
Mm-hmm.
And there might also be some conversation around the fact that Title IX doesn't give due consideration to the accused on campuses. And
Yeah, so that was a big point that I made in my last paper that I wrote. Now, Title IX, I'll have to look it up. I can't remember exactly what it says. I probably won't focus on that one for my current policy. I probably will do like the Clery Act. I think that's how they pronounce it.
Yeah.
Because that one pretty much states that you have to report the sexual assaults that take place on the campus, and that just makes more sense to me because it deals more with sexual assault. Title IX is kind of like leaving out like discrimination. It's like a discrimination
on the basis
policy.
of gender, right? And often pregnancy and all of that is subsumed within Title IX work on campuses. But yeah, no, I think the Clery Act makes sense to focus on. You can approach it in a lot of different ways. It's just a matter of ensuring it makes sense when all is said and done, how it comes together.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's 3 additional policies is pretty much what it is for that second bullet.
Yeah. And when we say 3 additional policies, I don't want you guys to feel so constrained as to have it be, very, self-contained, specific, like this is the recommendation type policy. It can be different approaches to programming that would require funding. That's a policy, because if something you're suggesting is going to require money, it's likely going to need to be funded within the legislature, and you would need to, float that by people who have the possibility to provide funding to that. So I guess I just don't want you to feel too limited so that you can't discuss, widespread programmatic change that could be viewed as policy, if that makes sense. Is that making any sense? If you wanted to do something very specific across all college campuses and you wanted to get funding, to mandate this as a training for all, state universities or something very broad, you could recommend that, Of course, you'd have to talk about the limitations of doing something like that, and how it might be challenging to coordinate those types of trainings on a national basis, and the funding that would be needed for it, and yada yada yada. I don't want to stifle your creativity, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. This is hard.
And I'll also say, while I think it's great to stick with the same topic because you're already familiar with this topic and you've already worked on this issue.
Yeah.
I'm finding that this is just posing too much of a challenge for you to kind of conceptualize this paper within that current topic. You can always consider a different topic as well.
So I just can't think of what other topic like this last minute that I'll be able to find enough information on.
Right, and you'd be starting from scratch as opposed to
that's the
learning part already well underway with this topic from the last paper. So
yeah, that's what I'm a little concerned about. Trying to find a new topic. Okay.
My guess is that you're overthinking it.
I know. Oh, my brain is not working.
That last assignment.
All right. I'll do my best.
Yeah, and again, I'm putting this out on our recording so anybody can take advantage of it. But if you wanted to even just send me your outline as you kind of put something together, feeling uncertain about the direction it's taking and you don't want to waste a ton of effort. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can.
All right. I'll do that.
All right.
Okay.
Good luck
Thanks.
with that.
I'll try not to come back in. You only
Oh,
have
you're
2 more.
welcome to. I'll be around for 10 more minutes. So.
Okay. Bye.